Welcome to the Daily Dish with Leanne Ely. This is a show about you, your life, and the vibrancy you want. Join us for daily motivation, wise women's tips, and more as we collectively gather together and move the needle in our lives, heart, mind, body, and soul. Now, here is your host, Leanne Ely, and the Daily Dish.
It is the Daily Dish. It's Tuesday. Hello. You ready for a little transformational tip? Listen, this week we're talking about commitment and how it's, pretty influential on who you are. Hello, Jackie. It's good to have you here. Amber's in the house. Jenny's in the house. It's good to have them here as well. And Chili, I see, and Noreen in Vermont. Well, it's a little nippy here, shall we say, but glad to have the sun out. I will say that. It's been out for a couple of weeks now. I've really been enjoying not having a whole lot of rain. We have a new quote of the week. Well, it started on Saturday, and I am telling you, this quote lights me up. I love good quotes, don't you? Hello, Deborah. I'm glad you're here. Jerry and Flynn in the house. Here it is. Roses do not bloom hurriedly, for beauty, like any masterpiece, takes time to blossom. Isn't that a gorgeous saying? That could be you, that could be me. That is us when we're in the place of transformation, when we're in the place of fully becoming who we're supposed to be. We just blossom, we bloom. Hi, Carla, Susan. There's my girl, Sarah. Good to see you. So we are going through this whole idea this week of what commitment's really all about. And how today we're going to be talking about how our identity influences our commitment and how our commitment influences our identity. And wait till we unpack this. This is really a big eye opener for me, and I hope it will be for you. So I'm really excited to share that with you. Doris, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here too, Darla and Angie. Very good to see you all. We have a lot of stuff going on, right? It's Christmas, for heaven's sakes. We are in the Christmas season. We've got the Ultimate Mix books available. And I showed you yesterday how you can make the garlic lime chicken seasoning recipe. It's number 10, and it's in here, number 10 in here. And you get all these, sorry about that, cool labels to go with it so that you can make your own seasoning blends. And what a great gift, right? What a great gift, especially for those who are just learning how to cook. You can buy these jars. We give you a link for that, the jars in the supply list of everything that you'll need. They're super inexpensive on Amazon. And I'm in love with this gift because you get to make it, but you also have a professionally done copy. And, just one other thing that I want to say about this, look, it lays flat. So as you're making all of these seasonings, like you've got Cajun seasoning, barbecue spice blend, garlic lime seasoning, you've got shopping lists that give you all the lists, all the ingredients that you're going to need to make all of these things. So think of it as a gift. Fill up these jars, keep the rest in little Ziploc bags and write what they are. Can you imagine opening that up on Christmas? Come on. That's a cool thing. I love it. Carol's in the house. So's Corliss. And so's my girl Willow and Martha. Very good to have you on board. Appreciate you showing up. The other thing that I have to tell you is Inner Circle, savingdinner.com/circle to get on that wait list. All the information is on that page. And save the date. Saturday, January 8th, we have coming up our workshop on how to make the best and most vibrant 2022. We did it last year and it was a fabulous success. We're doing it again this year because who doesn't want to be set up? Don't you want to tee it up? I'll tell you what I do. I want to tee it up. I want to make it happen. Rebecca Bell is in the house. So's Francesca. I'm glad you're here. Mimi, I'm so glad you're here. I am just grateful that you are here. January 8th, watch. Details are coming. We'll have a page for you this week. Okay? Promise. The last thing I want to tell you about is right below me is send your word join to 855-960-3720 And you will join our very exclusive SMS list. That's just text messaging list. And I'm going to tell you the best deals go there first. So I don't know, if I were you, this would be something I would do. Huh, Trisha? Wouldn't you? Christmas menus, the whole shebang. savingdinner.com/Christmas. 1/8 is a Friday? No, it's a Saturday. It's a Saturday. Hand to God. I'll show you. Flynn, look at January 20, 2022. Because I know I didn't mess that up. No, it's a Saturday. There you go. You know why? Because I know what you did. I know what you did. You went and looked at your calendar and you looked at 2021 because I did that yesterday. I know how that works. I do. I know how that works. We are doing we have Q&A on Friday, by the way. You know that, right? Are you going to send your questions in, or are you just going to wonder? Send them in. Send them in to support@savingdinner.com. Question for Leanne on Friday goes right there in the subject line. I will answer your question. Boom. Look at this is what our supplement of the week is. Buy 3, get 1 free. That's a screaming deal. Check it out at savingdinner.com/show. That's where we put them. And it's really easy. We've made it a lot simpler. You don't have to add the 3 anymore. You just press that button, say, I want this deal, and boom, it's done. I like that. Make it easy for me. The easier it is, the better it is, right? Anyway, so I think that's everything. Of course, we have our social media things. You can follow me on anything. I'm everywhere. Everywhere except like Twitter and other things like that, because Twitter lasts for 3/10 of a second. Twitter's silly. Anyway, let's get into this stuff, because I hope you get the little light bulb that I got when I went through all this whole thing, because I am telling you what, this stuff's important. Because this is the very foundational thing. This commitment to our identities really is foundational for us to really move the needle in our lives on anything. We're not just talking weight loss. We're not talking about anything. We are talking about all the things. Sarah, I would follow you anywhere. I was thinking about you today, believe it or not, this morning. I said, where's my Sarah been? Glad to see you. I'm so glad to see you. You know, I have said before, who you are shows up in what you do, not what you say. That's important, because honestly, the action behind our intention is everything. I mean, we can think and we could say, and we can, proselytize and talk all you want. But until there's some action behind what you're saying, who cares? You can't sit there and talk about nutrition if you're sitting there with a hamburger from Wendy's in your other hand, right? There's a conflict there. So we have to look at this, because what we're doing is a confirmation and a commitment to really our true identity. Right on, Willow. Actions do speak louder than words. Mary, I'm glad you're here. And because our identities are the plumb line of how we think, we attract in at the level of our identity. Think about that for a minute. We attract in at the level of our identity. It's like almost an expectation of what we think that's going to happen. It's not just a commitment, but it's also what we believe is coming our way. It is our reticular activating system in action. We can see it. We can bring it on in. So let's unpack this whole idea of identity first. I think that's really critical, because I think it's really going to help us to see how this all intersects and plays with each other. First of all, identity is, the dictionary says, the fact of being who or what a person or thing is. We get that? It's your commitment to your identity that forms who you are. That's based on your personality, your beliefs, the qualities of who you are. It's based on your looks even. If you are, for example, a Mennonite, you're going to look like a Mennonite, right? We had Mennonites in our in our community. And she, one of my Mennonite friends, shows up occasionally here. You'll see her, Cornelia, shows up here, and that was part of her identity, was being a Mennonite. I knew she was a Mennonite the minute I met her, right? So our looks, even your expressions and your vocabulary reflect who your identity is. So it's very deep. It's within. It is part and parcel of who you are. So it's an influence then, wouldn't you say, on your behavior? But here's where you get into conflict. Get this. You say, you know what? I'm going to start getting quality sleep. I'm going to start getting quality sleep. I'm going to start, doing really well and really taking care of myself and getting in that REM sleep and that, 10 to 2 o'clock, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. I'm going to be in healing mode. I'm going to be asleep. And then you turn around and say, I'm just not a morning person, or I'm a night owl. Your identity is conflicting with the thing that you want to do. Do you see that? This is why oftentimes we can't get off the dime and get it going, because we're identifying with something that's different than what we're professing that we want. You get that? That landed hard on me because I have done that. We've all done it. I mean, this is what we do. Sarah just got back from 2 weeks at Disney. 2 weeks! Pushing a wheelchair the whole time, 20,000 steps each day. Good grief. I'm so glad I'm so glad you had your infoclusher with you. And I could have told you that about seeing yourself as strong anyway, Sarah, honestly. I knew that about you. So what if your identity is in conflict with what you want? Then what? Being 100% committed means your identity needs to become a part of the change that you're willing to make. For example, you can't commit to quality sleep if you're identifying yourself as a night owl. I just said that. Conversely, you can't identify as a healthy eater either if on the way home from work, at the slightest tingle of a hunger pain, you just drive in the nearest drive-through. You can't. There's a conflict there, and guess which one's going to win? Guess which behavior is going to win and ultimately decides your identity? Just saying. Your conflict with your identity is only lip service to a commitment. It's not a true commitment. It's just lip service, plain and simple, full stop. So the road to commitment is built on the back of your identity. So as James Clear said, get this, I love this. True behavior change is identity change. You might start with a habit because of motivation, but the only reason you stick to it is it becomes a part of your identity. And that sticking to it is your commitment to yourself. You see how this whole thing feeds into each other? It's pretty incredible. Hello, Denise. This is why I'm an athlete, right? That's my goal. I've said that to you, and it's why it stayed my goal, not just at the very beginning of the year when I first created my goals, but every single time that got written down in my Take Back Your Life journal as I am an athlete. I'm going to share why as we go on, because at the end of this whole thing, I'm going to show you the whole matrix of how second nature is built. Okay. So for me, it was powerful. I found that to be powerful, saying I am an athlete. And I even took a couple of you on the mat and said, you said, oh, I don't want to be an athlete. And I argued the point that yes, you do. Because that changes your identification. It changes what you commit to because it changes your identification. And the things that we're committed to is our identification, so we can't have that conflict. We got to clear the conflict out. We got to see it first, and then we got to clear it out. That's the whole business. So I found myself this whole year, and looking back, I looked back on this. Hey there, Diane. I've looked back this whole year at my commitment to being an athlete. And I saw some inconsistency. But, part of it is grit, not quit. And part of it is just this inconsistency. And I nailed it down and had this huge aha moment. And it was because of what I identified with. Not so much being an athlete, but I had this whole litany of excuses on why it didn't happen. So here's a couple of things. I'd say, on one hand, I would say, hey, I'm just really tired. What, I've had a huge day. I'm a business owner. I've got a puppy. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. And I had all these excuses. I'm 63 years old, as if. We all have a pocket full of excuses, don't we? We all have a pocket full of rationalizations on why we can't do the very thing that we say that we want to do. And it's because our identity is too loose around this declaration, around this intention that we've set for ourselves. That's why. That's why. So changing your identity changes your commitment. And this is why I say to my coaching clients who are doing all of this, I say to you, yes, say you're an athlete, because what do athletes do? Run it down. What do athletes do? They don't just go out there and sprint and win a race. They train for it. They eat for it. They sleep for it. They have all these healthy habits in place. That's what athletes do. So if we're going to identify with something, then the behaviors that go with it then become a part of who we are. How do you like that? Alice, I'm glad to see you. Rebecca says, I love this. I just started belly dancing. I love it and want to be a belly dancer. I think that's fantastic, Rebecca. We're going to have you perform, of course, in our Hot Milk Sprint group. You can go live. So the thing that we need to be doing then is we've got to start understanding that our identity changes our commitment. We also have to be looking at that our identity is contingent on the stuff we talked about earlier. It's contingent on our personality, the use of words, how we identify as, what we say to other people. I'm not a morning person, or I remember a woman telling me, I am a tea person. I am a this person. I am a that person. Hold the phone. What kind of a person are you? This is why I don't allow my coaching clients to say my cheese or my fill in the blank disease, because those are the things we don't want to own. We want to own the things only that bring in the quality of the life that we want to lead and the identity that we want to identify with. That's our commitment. And that shatters all the other stuff around it. Is this blowing your mind? It just fully blew my mind today when I was putting this all together. And it helped me to see the stumbling blocks. It helped me to see how easily, how readily I grabbed those excuses from my pocket and said, well, I've got this, I've got that. So if Rebecca's going to become a belly dancer, Rebecca is going to bloody well belly dance, isn't she? Not just once a week. She's going to do it. She's going to do it. Trisha said she accidentally fell off for a while, but she's back. And I love that. Being back is everything. And that's your identity. She's in. She's doing her journey. She wants to be a part of it. She's made a declaration. I'm holding you to it, Trisha. I am holding you to it. We have to ask different questions then, don't we? And the change needs to be in the quest for a stronger identity to what we want. That is a big bloody deal. It really is. It's everything. So here's some good examples. This will set your mind on fire. Of course, we're going to hold you to it. If we don't see you, everybody who's listening, if we don't see Trisha in the Hot Milk Sprint group, somebody's going to have to tag her and say, Trisha, where are you? Okay? Yeah, we'll get you. And you need a body clutter buddy. You need to do your things. So here's some good examples of what I just talked about. Your goal isn't to lose weight, because that's all outcome based. Your goal is to become an athlete. Yeah? Becoming an athlete creates the change you're looking for. Your goal isn't to quit smoking. It's to become a non-smoker. To quit smoking, that's an outcome. What's that going to take? All kinds of things. Who knows, right? But you want to become and identify with a non-smoker. When you identify as a non-smoker, you stop smoking. Because smokers, quitting smoking isn't enough. It's identifying with not a non-smoking ID. That's everything. And if your goal isn't to just get up earlier, your goal is to become an early riser. What does that tell you about the night before? You're not up till midnight, Facebooking around and Netflixing and watching YouTube videos ad nauseum. No, you've done your nighttime routine. You've put your nighttime ritual to bed. You got to bed at a decent hour. You got some activity during the day and moved your body. You hydrated. It just follows suit. Do you see how all these things just tumble down? They do. All of these behaviors are the outcome of you making a determination of who you're going to be. I love this stuff. Your identity is the foundation of your truest and best version of yourself. It is. If you decide it is, that is, if you make that decision. It's not a choice, it's a decision. And out of that decision come different behaviors. And if you decide it is, then your commitment is ID-based goals versus outcomes. It's not just about an outcome-based goal. And that puts you in the right direction because the behavior is birthed out of that. So here's a couple of things. I've got 3 things for you to know about. Number 1, this is how it all does. Your ID emerges out of your habits. This is what James Clear says. Bum, bum, bum. Hey, Susan, she loves us all. I love being loved, by the way. Isn't it good? So if you create the right ID-based goals, then that's going to help you to become the woman you want to become. And like I said, don't forget, save the date, January 8th, Saturday, January 8th. We're going to go deep into this. We're just touching the top of this. We haven't even gotten deep into it because it's amazing. And it will connect you exactly and align you with what it is that you want. No more lip service. It's now time to do the service. Amen. Number 2 is you put your ID-based habits then on repeat. And that's how you embody your identification, the identification of who you want to be. That's your commitment to your deep self. That's your commitment to your higher self. That's your commitment to being all that you can possibly be. Because if you're here on purpose, for purpose, fearfully and wonderfully made, how can you say no to that? You were called to this. You're called to it. This is our great obligation to the one who gave us life. To me, that absolutely thrills me beyond anything. Because what a privilege, what an opportunity. Can you imagine all the things that you can do, all the good that you could bring about? It's exciting. So when you embody this, when you make your bed every day, which, I almost didn't make my bed this morning. I was like, I'll just pull the covers up. It'll be fine. And I thought, one more minute, 45 seconds, pull down, the weighted blankets, straighten the duvet, put on the nice pillows. That's made bed instead of just pulling them up. I almost never do. There's probably 3 times a year that I do that, 4 times a year maybe. And today, for whatever reason, I'm just, I had all these things going on, trying to get this done and that done and all the rest of it. And you know what? It was worth it when I went back upstairs. I was working down in the office. When I went back upstairs and I went and saw that made bed, it reminded me I am an organized person, because that's what it is. I embodied the ID of an organized person. Everything's not perfect around here. Believe me, I'll give you a tour of my office. Not perfect. But that is the embodiment of the identification that I want. So I love this. It's a reinforcement of a habit. It reinforces your identity, and it reinforces your commitment to being your best and highest self. It does. Number 3, Your action or inaction is a vote for the person you're committed to being. Mhm. Or your inaction, your action or your inaction, it's a vote. And when you take votes, and this is an important part, it's gradual. It's a gradual thing. It's a little bit here, here's a vote here, here's a vote there. It doesn't all happen at once. It's a whole day of voting. People come from all over and they cast their votes, don't they? It takes a minute. And then they have to be tallied. So I want to say that this is a gradual thing. And there's some starting, there's some stopping, there's some whoops, I'm really messed up. I left everything behind. You have good days and you have bad days. But if we understand that it's incremental, it's driven by grit and not quit, then there's a whole different mindset that goes along with it. We don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater and we don't go out there. I'm just reading what you said, Sarah. My excuses do not invalidate my identity. It's not that athletes don't get tired. It's just that athletes keep being athletes even though and when they are tired. Amen. That's exactly what this is about. It is not about perfect. It's about excellence. And excellent athletes understand when it's time to rest. And excellent athletes also understand that when they goof up and when they mess up and when they give themselves a pass and an excuse instead of an honest to God assessment, like I'm tired and I need to rest, that they can just pick it up and do it again the next day. It doesn't mean that they get out of the athletes club, right? Carol, you have to adopt that concept. Don't we all? Don't we all? We all need to do this. And it's not just one action. It is one action that's declarative, but the decree goes in the subsequent actions. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Make it happen for yourself. And it's meaningful if you're committed because it's going to make you and turn you into your very best self. Number 4 is to remember your vote is never unanimous. We know that. Just like in a real election, there is votes on both sides, isn't there? And what you're looking for is a majority vote, right? That's what excellence is most of the time you're doing the right thing, you're doing the right work. And the times that you're not, you're assessing it, you're looking at it and saying, yeah, you know what? Tomorrow's going to be a better day. I wake up every morning, this is hand to God. I say, today's going to be a great day. And I prepare myself for a great day. I prepare myself for doing the right thing. I've used my time block sheet, so that I can see where the dips and stumbles are. We have that. It's a free resource, by the way, at savingdinner.com/time. And all this is an evaluation of what's what. Where's your time going? Because if you don't know where your time is going, you can't get into any of this. Because your time is just frittering away. And at the end of the day, you're going, what happened here? How would you like that to be your lifetime? At the end of your life going, what happened here? I don't want that for anyone. And this is why we talk about it. Because what you do today is what you're going to do tomorrow and the next day, next year, and then 10 years from now. If you want different, you have to do different. And you have to identify your life and your identity with what it is that you want, and then allow that to follow suit. So listen, you're going to be this will also help you be consistent. This is what we need. We need new identity requires new evidence too, doesn't it? This is when your reticular activating system is going off. And if you know this about that, and you start saying, well, I'm never going to have this, or I'm never going to have that. And then you start to notice that you're never having these things. Then maybe you ought to start saying things and announcing things a little bit differently. I know I can fill in the blank. I know I've got this. I know, like yesterday, when I told you about my AC/DC ride for 30 minutes. I don't ever do 30-minute rides. I do 15, 20-minute rides, even 10-minute rides if I can. But I'm like, I can't do that. I can't. Yes, you can. I was well rested. I mean, everything was in line. Everything was in place. And so I challenged myself a little bit. And you know what that did? It helped to change my identity of what I can do. And you can do that as well. I'm glad you needed a Leanne fix, Lynn, because I need a Lynn fix. I'm glad you're here. Brendan Burchard posted this a few days ago, and I thought it was just everything. He said, first, it is an intention. Then it's a behavior. Then a habit. Then a practice. Then second nature. Then it is simply who you are. I don't know about you. My head just went, psh. And I say, let's commit to that. You know, your intentions start, it's a spark. But don't you want a fire? Don't you want a fire behind that desire? Make it hot, make it smoking hot, and then go out there and burn a trail if you need to? That's how we do it with our identity. Okay, Rebecca's asking me to repeat this. I will. First, it is an intention. Then it's a behavior. Then a habit. Then a practice. Then second nature. And then it is simply who you are. Use that. I am an athlete. That's my intention, to be an athlete. Well, you got to get the behavior in line. Then you got to get a habit going in line and get that in place. Then it becomes a practice. It does. It becomes a practice. Then it's second nature. Then it is who you are. And you know, the group that I'm with, I'll tell you, the group that I'm with, which is, you know, one of my Peloton group online, people have the before and after pictures. You know, they do that. But you know what I see? I see at the very beginning, here I am before I made a decision to become an athlete. Here I am as an athlete. And the difference is strength. Sometimes the body change. Yeah, of course the body changes are there, but the strength that you see is so much different. And the confidence in that woman is so much different. The physicality of our goals and all of that. This is why I am so adamant about getting our physicality behind our weight. You know, if you have a desire for weight loss, anything, because our physicality builds an enormous amount of strength, heart, mind, body, soul. And when we understand that and know that and flex that muscle, we're flexing a decision muscle for ourselves. Because, you know, God didn't give you the car to keep it parked in the garage, ladies. It's time to get up off your butt, stop sitting so much, and start becoming the woman that you want to be. You can't do that sitting on your butt. You just can't. You know, that's where we disintegrate. That's where our muscles just fall into nothingness. And that's where we lose our ability to keep up, you know? First, it's an intention, then a behavior, then a habit, then a practice, then second nature, then it's simply who you are. Commit to that, because in 2022, it's all about that next level. And that next level is calling you, because if you have been called by name, for purpose and by purpose, if you are fearfully and wonderfully made and you recognize this, then you have no other answer than to say yes to what's ahead. You ready to do that? I don't see any pinkies going up. I'll tell you what mine are. Pinkies up, ladies. This is how we get to that next level. This is what it's all about. Our identities and our commitment to that identity with all the actions behind it and all the intention and all that goodness. It grows and becomes who we are supposed to be. And I'll tell you what, it has a momentum of its own, and it will take us there. That's what I'm excited about. Find the true you in 2022. What a good one, Trisha. There you go. Look at that. She's writing mottos for us and everything. I'm ready to become the best version of myself. What about you? I know you are. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for showing up and being a part of my daily life, really. I appreciate you all. And tomorrow, it's Wise Women's Wednesday. What will be on the table? Who knows? Peace be with you. See you later. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. Check back for new episodes. If you missed the live show, you can always watch the replay. You can find Saving Dinner on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Until next time, pinkies up.